This is MXUX. Going to do a little slideshow here. Real quick opinion on the Ford Lightning versus the Lordstown Endurance. Going to go over a few details. Hope you like it. Let's get started. Hi, this is MXUX. I'm just, they premiered the Ford F-150 Lightning, and I wanted to do a little quick review of this or some thoughts on it vis-a-vis the Endurance, Lordstown Endurance, comparing the two vehicles. But here it is. It's got the aluminum body and the aluminum bed of the F-150. In my early research, they said they were going to build these bodies on the regular Ford line at the Rouge plant and then just transfer them into the electric plant, sub-plant they're building inside, and drop them on that frame system that holds the battery and the motors. Anyway, I'm just going to go through this quickly here. I think you've probably all seen the presentation on TV. I just want to point out a couple things. This is all to be expected. Again, nice frunk. The Atlas, I believe, also had this frunk configuration. I don't know if it leaves it open to front end damage or not, but anyway. Now these three options here, the grid and all this stuff, this is also available. This is nothing really new, and this is available through the hybrid. The hybrid F-150 does this, and the Endurance has options, I believe, available that you can get to have these capabilities as well. Now here's the thing. Targeted EPA estimated range. Okay, so standard range is 230. The range on the Endurance is 300, and these are all estimated ranges. This is a prototype. This isn't an alpha. This isn't a beta. This isn't a PPV. This is a prototype. So none of this stuff has really been worked out completely. One of the big things they mentioned about, and I'm going to go, I think there's going to be a lot of gotchas with this, as there are with many of the major auto manufacturers. They're talking about, I watched a few reviews on the web. It comes with a charger. That's great, 80 amp Ford charger. Well, the extended range battery comes standard with the 80 amp Ford charger, Station Pro. But you got to get the extended range battery with the targeted 300 mile range. So I do believe this is going to be replete with all these kind of gotchas, as the major manufacturers do. It's just what they do. Now this is, of all the issues I have, I don't have that many issues with this truck. I like Ford trucks, and I think this is a handsome truck, but I have a major, well, first of all, I think the Endurance has, with the hub motors, a far more sophisticated and better forward-leaning drive system, propulsion system than this. This is vestigial. It's got a lot of stuff that the Endurance doesn't need. If you compare, and perhaps I'll pull up a schematic of the Endurance, you can see for yourself. Anyway, this is probably a inverter charger unit, whatever, inverter charger unit. Here's your batteries. Now here's the thing. The motors are mounted underneath here. Now, in the front of the truck, okay, well, you got an oil pan. When you got an ICE engine, you come to expect that, This is a pickup truck that's supposed to be doing towing and load hauling, and they have this motor mounted under the bed, okay, and this is an aluminum bed, which is pretty soft, so I hope that's got some protective sealing. They're known for having the soft beds on the Ford F-150s. The whole body's aluminum. But the thing is, this thing is the inverter. Below it is the motor. And some sort of reduction gearing, half shafts, axles, CV joints running to each wheel. This is four-wheel drive. The front has the same configuration. They said there's two different motors, though. They didn't explain what that meant. But the point is, this is old school. Tesla uses this. This is so yesterday. The number of moving parts here is ridiculous and totally unnecessary. But the main point is, and I'm going to try to find a picture of this before I with the next step in this presentation. This motor is slung under the bed in between the two wheels. It is hanging in the position where the differential would be in a normal truck. This motor, this electric motor, is so low, I do not know what the ground clearance is, and I believe they have bash plates all around it and everything. But, you know, I'll tell you, anybody that's driven a truck or gotten a truck stuck or anything else knows you don't want a motor back there. My opinion, my humble opinion, I'm not an engineer. Same, independent rear suspension. Independent rear suspension. I don't know that much about trucks. I've done my fair share of research on this. You know, you can't, for towing, load hauling, you can't have an independent rear suspension. This thing is going to wobble all over the road. When you put a load on it, how are you going to balance the load? You know, one side's going to go down. It's not like you have an axle in there distributing the weight on some stiff leaf springs and so forth. You know, this is like filling the trunk of a, 78 Eldorado up with bags of cement. You know what's going to happen. The tail is going to drag. It's going to be wobbling all over the road when you drive away. Every time you make a turn, it's going to be swinging and swaying. I don't know. Now, they say they have this re-engineered and to handle the towing and to handle the hauling and so forth. But still, I do not... The position of this motor, and I hope I can find a photograph of it, it is, in my opinion, dangerously low. And again, this is under a aluminum bed. I would not doubt if there's some kind of plating protecting this under the aluminum bed because, I mean, I like the aluminum bed, but it's soft, okay? You can puncture it and so forth. So I think that's a weak spot. But this motor, and again, this drivetrain with these CV joints and CV boots and half axles and all this business and the same business up front, you might as well have an ICE vehicle, in my opinion. But I think the placement of this motor is a weakness, in my opinion. I don't know how they're going to get away. You know, this is their independent suspension right there. What, like I say, what is this, a 78 Cadillac? That's spring over strut, whatever. Give me a break. Now, I think even Tesla has moved. Now, they go to the airbag suspension, but I think they put a straight axle in their Cybertruck. The last picture I saw one driving away, it was a straight axle, but it had an airbag suspension on it. Maybe I'm wrong on that, too. Maybe that was just a prototype. But the point is, I don't know. I thought you had to have an axle in a truck, and my research tells me that you have to have an axle. I mean, you have a Honda Ridgeline, and that's got independent suspension, but, you know, it's not really a truck. I would, like I said, this is going to be like, in my humble opinion, it's going to be like loading up a 78 Cadillac with railroad ties. Let's put 20 railroad ties in the trunk of a 78 Cadillac and see how it drives. In my opinion. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. 4 motors, 2 wheels. Of course, the Endurance has 4 motors, 4 wheels. And again, available sync 1550. Okay, this is not standard. It comes with a small in-dash screen, like this here. This is an option, okay? And I think this is, again, going to be replete with options. They have many different models of this, as the OEMs do, And first owned and blah blah blah. The entry model starts at 40,000, commercial oriented. Again, and the mid series XLT starts at 52. I think this is what they're going to end up selling. I think, back in the day, they had this same kind of pricing stuff at the dealership. And the thing was, these come from the factory with options pre-installed. Unless you order the truck special order, they never have the base model on the lot. Ever. Never. You have to order it. I have a feeling that this is going to be the last model of this they produce. Okay. It's not going to be available. Now, they may make it available to commercial trucks, fleets, to ding Lordstown, but I think for the general public, I think this is a pipe dream. They aren't going to, they're going to, the XLT, this is the basic package they push on all the pickup trucks now, and this is like the bare essentials you want, unless you're a Spartan, okay? And that's the real price, 53. So that's going to be equivalent to the Endurance, okay? And it goes up to around 90, okay? And again, they've yet to state what this is going to be, this 39.9 package. It's hard to know. But anyway, starting at, and here's a 1. Where's that footnote at? We can't find it. It's somewhere. Well, is that a click? No, we can't tell. Anyway, the point is, now, here's something else. Targeted 10,000 maximum towing. They're not saying maximum available towing, and that's max towing available with extended battery and max trailer tow package. Okay, see all these caveats here. Varies based on cargo vehicle configuration and number of passengers. Okay, so they're fudging this number too. And I want to tell you something. I think, they want to make sure that this is capable, but I'm telling you, that suspension and that motor back there, you could see, extended range battery, tow package, whatever that is, cargo, configuration, accessories, and number of passengers. So who knows what the real towing capability is going to be. This is like aspirational. Okay, I think the Endurance got 7,500 pounds, something like that. Advanced towing and hauling technology. Now, this is another interesting thing, and this is a very attractive truck, except I do not like this, and I've pointed this out elsewhere. The F150s are great. The outside body shell. I don't like the interiors, but I mean, they make a sharp truck. This thing has got these holes. I mean, terrible. It looks absolutely horrible. And they have yet to put any lighting, and I can't find any pictures that show them. But you're going to see, and I don't know, maybe there's louvers on them. I have no idea. Of course, this is all solid here, because that's the front, okay, which is a nice feature as well. But, I could take it or leave it. I think they had to do that, to be honest with you, have that open in the front like that, because the ride height on this vehicle, to fit those motors, to make room for those motors, so from here to here, and they're trying to hide it, as they did with the Mach-E, with this black footboard and all this stuff. But I'm sure that they could not just have this open like a regular hood here, like that, because the reach over to get to that, I bet this fender right here, I bet it's probably 5 feet off the ground. So that's what. But I liked it front. But this bothers me a great deal. I did not like the way that cooling vent looked. Did not like it. Now, hauling technology. Smart technologies designed easy to hook up your trailer, help you keep informed on what you're towing or hauling. Now here's the thing, they got the trailer hitch assistant, which is nice. I want to tell you, it's my opinion that the reason they have these onboard scales, I think they had to put them on there, because I bet that back end with that independent suspension is so touchy that they, in order to honor a warranty, or they're going to say you got to follow the instructions, because I got to tell you, I just don't see how. Like I said, 78 Cadillac. So I believe that's why they have the onboard scales, because of that low ride height of that motor, and because of that independent suspension. I don't think they want to overload this truck. And you saw above what all the caveats were on that thing, but I really do believe. That's why. And then, you got load balancing too. I mean, when you have independent suspension, you're going to have problems load balancing with a straight axle. But when you have independent suspension, I mean, well, you can think about it. The purpose of independent suspension is to have one side move independent of the other. And again, this is a nice feature, this workspace. I am not a big fan of the Ford interiors. I like the Endurance interior much better. I feel that these are a bit claustrophobic and over buttoned and a little bit much, And again, I think this frunk is made like that because this ride height is so high here that reaching over this fender would not give you access to this trunk. We're going to see when you finally get a look at the truck. And I know a lot of people like lifted trucks. I personally like the Endurance ride height, for handling and stability, among other things. But anyway, and again, now you can barely see it here. You can't see it here at all. You see what I'm talking about? This grate here? See that? I mean, what is the deal? I mean, it looks unfinished. They hide it in every picture. And again, I got these outlined here where they've hidden that. That bothers me. And again, this here is an option. It's not. This is going to be the standard display here, and they're going to have like one of those small grainy displays in the middle of the dash. And again, I've drawn this arrow here that you can't see. You can see there where that girl is standing. That tailgate height. That's a high tailgate. Okay, that is a high tailgate. All right, I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Anyway, I think this ride height is pretty high on this. And this stuff we all know about, this incentives and maintenance and so forth. And they got a great colorizer. And that is a very handsome truck. I think Ford, this is the iconic design that just registers in your mind as being a good looking truck. So, and they got the cutaway doors here and everything. You can't say anything bad about that. Anyway, reserve now, starting spring 2022. Again, I don't know if they're going to meet that target. Like I say, they got a basically a prototype here. They haven't worked, but they built. They know what they're doing there. But I was shocked when I saw how small the factory actually was. I don't know how many units. I'd like to know. I don't think they're being very open about how many they're going to produce. I'm going to go over this in the other part of this presentation about them not wanting to cannibalize, because the Ford F-150 is Ford. This is the best-selling truck in America. It's their number one product. They quit making sedans, right? They cannot cannibalize the sales of this ICE Ford 150, nor can they afford to shut down the lines building this and let all that stuff be idle. I mean, you know what I mean. they're going to have to do a gradual, very gradual introduction of this. I think that's how they're going to do it. I think it's going to be limited in supply. Again, I think they might, well, I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, they may bring the fleet models out to ding Lordstown. But I think Lordstown has a distinct advantage over this design here. And I'm going to go over that. Okay, let's move on to the next portion of this. Okay, here we are at the Lordstown site. I just want to go, they're going to have a plant day here next month. It's going to be very exciting for them. Just want to show you, they compare the endurance to the Ford F-150 Lariat four-wheel drive, which is, the savings are 20 grand. This is going to be the same thing for their, I'm going to say their base model. I don't know if that commercial one is going to be built even for fleet clients, but maybe it will be. But the point is, how are they going to sell the F-150s if it's 20 grand savings going with the electric? I mean, is Ford going to cannibalize their fleet sales completely? I don't know. Maybe their markup is better on the EV than the ICE truck. But the point is, as this is to this is also to scratch out endurance here and put down the new Ford Lightning F-150. It's 20 grand cheaper. So, you know, I don't know how Ford, like I said, I think they're going to have to do this gradually. I don't know. Maybe they have it all figured out. But that's the point I'm trying to make with the cannibalization there. And let's just go to tech. And I just wanted to show real quickly here the now there is the endurance. You see, there's the ICE. Okay, there's the endurance. Okay, but the point is, what I'm talking about is, here's the front of the vehicle, here's the rear of the vehicle. This is where the motor is for the F-150. Ah, yikes. Do you see how much simpler this vehicle is? And I got a parts count coming up, but this will just give you an idea of the simplicity. I mean, a body's a body, the cab's the cab, whatever. But when you get down to the number of moving parts, I believe the Endurance has 1,000 parts, period, totally. And the drivetrain, 4 moving parts. No CV joints, no half shafts, no axles, no differentials, no CV boots, no reduction gearing, no motor castings. They don't have to hide these gigantic motors underneath the payload area. And by the way, you can't really see it here, but maybe you can see it down here. As I said, the Endurance, straight axle. See what I'm talking about here? Straight axle. See that? There's an old F-150, straight axle. Independent suspension is a no-no with a work truck. Okay? That's my understanding. I could be wrong. All right. Let's move on here. All right, here we are. These are some notes I have down here for the two vehicles versus each other. We got the Ford Lightning versus the Lordstown Endurance. And first, well, let's just, here's the two logos for you. Here we go. 2022. Spring. Will it make it? We don't know. Could set it back. I think Ford's going to drag their feet, but I was wrong about this. I thought they were going to come out with an expensive F-150, so I could be wrong about that. I have here most expensive first, will not found. I still think the 40K one is going to be hard to find. And I think they're going to do it well, for commercial orders, but I could be wrong on that too. Because all they got to do is build the body and throw it on the frame. I'm sure they're going to use the same frame and motor configuration for every model, regardless of what the price is. Ford is building a factory within a factory at the Rouge plant. I saw some video on this, very small. I don't know what their annual capacity is going to be. They haven't said. I tried to look it up a while ago. I couldn't find it. The range on the Ford right now is aspirational. You noticed all the caveats on that website that I produced there. It showed that, well, pending, blah, blah, blah. So we don't know. That's to be expected. That's a low blow, but anyway, we don't know. $53K for the consumer model, which is realistic. This is what they sell most of them at, the regular pickups. It's an option trap. They're going to get you. That's how they do it, And up to $90K. So I think they're gonna build a lot of these. I don't know. They're going to take orders and everything. We'll see. Usually, a lot of the dealerships, what they do is they build the trucks and send them out and they sell them. But maybe these are all going to be special order. Again, I don't know how many they plan on building. Most of the features that they mentioned on the video, on the launch video, they're options. This is the large touchscreen is not standard. It is an option. Okay? And many of the other features as well. Now I've already gone over this. The independent rear suspension is, I've never heard of that on a work truck. I don't know. I don't know if they're trying to sell this as a work truck, the commercial model. I don't know. Again, the rear motor is as low as the differential, precarious. They got a bash plate over it, I think, but having stuck a few trucks in the mud and so forth and overloaded them, scraped the, I don't know. I don't know, guys. Seems like it's in a really tough spot to me. Independent rear suspension for towing, never. I've never heard of this. I've done research on this because I wanted to look into it for the Cybertruck. Anyway, they say they have it solved. I don't know. I got to take a wait and see on that. They got to balance, and the bed load. As I said, I went over this 78 Cadillac stuff. This is basically the same truck as the Endurance. It's aluminum, the body and bed are aluminum. The Endurance is more steel, but it's a king cab, 5.5 bed, 4-wheel drive. The Endurance has more horsepower, 600. It has, I believe, more torque, and the standard range is higher by 10 miles or so. So they're relatively equivalent. Actually, the Endurance is a little better. Now, I had gone over this in that presentation. I do not like the square holes in the lower front grille. I think it's the ugliest thing I've ever seen. I don't know. I haven't been able to make it out exactly what it is. It looks like an afterthought. I don't know what they were thinking with that. Again, I mentioned this before. Will they allow this thing to cannibalize their main revenue source, which is the F-150, which is the biggest selling vehicle they have and the biggest selling pickup truck in the world and the biggest the number one vehicle in the country? The point is, are they going to sell a $40,000 EV that's going to go for $32K? What is going to happen? I don't understand how they can do this unless they do it very slowly. Or they have other plans. I mean, they've been in business a long time. What do I know? I am suspecting that this is going to be a slow rollout. These are going to be hard to get. I bet the dealers are going to be marking them up. As I said, I don't think this commercial vehicle is going to be available to the public. They may do it to try to ding some fleet sales. Anyway, here's the thing. Many moving parts in this truck. it's almost, it's much like the Tesla, same thing. Half shaft, CV joint, reduction gear, gear lubrication. I think they probably have a differential in this. They say they don't. I don't know. Anyway, again, as far as repairs go, well, you've had your CV joint replaced in your car, right? What was it? 50,000 miles? How many miles do you think a fleet truck does? Anyway, now again, I go over this in that Ford thing. I think this thing has a high ride height to conceal the battery. I think they're hiding this. I think that's why there's a low entry point to the frunk. We're going to see when it gets out there, but I think this is already hiked up. The home powering options and the outlets and the light, these are all things that the Endurance is capable as well. The Endurance may not have all the work lights and everything that this thing has, but those are, nice to have. You don't really need them. You know what I mean? Here's the Endurance. Okay, 5,000. I don't know how many parts. I said it before. I might have got that wrong. 5,000 parts in the total in the vehicle. Total. 4 moving parts in the drivetrain. They probably got 1,000 parts in the drivetrain. I bet you. I think they did a thing on the Tesla. I believe it had 700 parts in the drivetrain for the front wheels or the rear wheels. 700. So the Endurance is going to have lower costs of ownership and fewer repairs. And the hub motors are the rub here. They're a superior design. They have torque vectoring, they have traction control. It will operate with 3 motors not working. Swapping a motor is almost like changing a tire. It's really the only repair part on the drivetrain. The total cost of ownership and the maintenance for fleets, it appears to me to be an easy decision. Although Ford is undercutting them on price, but if you look at this, that would be my decision. Endurance has more range horsepower, probably more torque. Endurance will be first to market. And the fleets, as I said, the Ford F-150 sales in my last video, they were down. The fleet sales were down 26% for Ford last year. And Endurance is going to be first to market. Are they going to wait? Are the fleets going to wait? I think they're going to tip their toes in the water on the Endurance. And if they like it, they're going to make big orders. That's how I think it's going to go. Plus, they're saying the launch date on this is going to be 2022. Ford is a big-time player. If they say 2022, I think it behooves them to drag their feet on this a bit. I think it behooves them to bring out the most expensive model first and then gradually trickle in the rest of the models. I think that's what they'll do, but what do I know? I could be wrong. They maybe just go in full tilt, I don't know. It doesn't seem to me that they have the manufacturing capacity to make a large number of these. They were building a sub-plant in the Rouge plant. So, I don't know. Like I said, they're building the frame and the drivetrain separately. They're building the bodies on the line, and they're just going to mate them. They're going to pull them right off the regular line, the bodies, and they're going to mate them with the EV bottoms. So, that's how it's going to work. Anyway, no dealer to contend with on the Endurance, okay? And you might see that as a plus or a minus. I see it as a plus. And the Lightning is still a prototype. It's got a way to go for production. It's not an alpha. It's not a beta. It's not a pre-production vehicle. Likely will take longer than stated. Cost more. Range and power will change. This is the normal course of things. Overall, Ford builds good trucks. This is a Ford truck with a skateboard under it. Here's my opinion. I think that the independent rear suspension and the position of the rear motor is going to be a problem for this Ford. That's my opinion. And I think, as I said, Tesla, I think, is rethinking their independent rear suspension as well. But I don't know. These guys are smart. Maybe they figured out a way to do it. I don't know. Like I said, independent suspension, you might as well be loading up the trunk of a 78 Coupe de Ville with bags of cement and driving it around, because that's what you got with an independent. Well, even that had a straight axle in it, right? Anyway, the point is, that's what I doubt. And again, I bet that's why they put the scale in it. That's my opinion. Anyway, it is a very attractive truck. It's very handsome. Will they keep their schedule? Which model will they bring out first? Anyway, the Endurance has some breathing room. They're going to get out in September. These buyers are going to get a chance to get some samples of their trucks and evaluate them. I think the total cost of ownership is clear. I think that the Endurance is a much simpler drivetrain, simpler vehicle. But anyway, that's my take on it. Nice truck. Last things last. I absolutely hate the square holes in the front bumper. Okay, and I think the ride height's really high too. I think that's going to be impractical for loading the tailgate. But that's my opinion. Anyway, it's a great truck. I'm sure they'll sell a lot of them. I don't know if a lot of present F-150 owners are going to go for it, but I'm sure the fleets are going to look at it long and hard. Okay, this is MXUX. I'm going to close this video out now. Hi, this is MXUX. Just going to close this out. I wanted to get this out quickly. I think the Ford's a nice truck. I think it's going to be a competitor, more so probably with Rivian and the Tesla than the Endurance, in my opinion. I don't know that Ford is going to want to. They're going to sacrifice their fleet sales to Endurance if they don't put it up, but I don't know. I think they're facing a situation where they're going to obsolete their own bestseller if they're not careful. I don't know how they're going to play that. I think obviously either Lordstown or Ford got wind of what was going on, and they pushed this presentation. Anyway, Lordstown's got a big showing coming up at the plant. I think it's got a better drivetrain. Simple as that. Thanks for watching, guys.